Hello everyone, my name is Yutong. I'm from the School of Psychology and Cognitive Science at East China Normal University. It's truly an honor to be here today to share with you a study on the application of coaching psychology in the field of creativity. The title of my presentation is Group-Based Coaching for Developing Creative Self-Concept, a randomized controlled trial. To begin with, creativity self-concept is the belief in one's own creative ability and emotional judgment of that ability. As Karwowski and colleagues have pointed out, individuals' beliefs about their abilities and psychological characteristics significantly impact their creative performance. Current research primarily suggests that creative self-concept comprises two subcomponents. The first one is creative personal identity, and the second one is creative self-efficacy. Creative personal identity reflects the importance of a particular domain to an individual's self-concept, arising from their reflection on personal experiences, and it can be developed over time. On the other hand, creative self-efficacy refers to an individual's belief in their ability to produce creative outcomes. When individuals possess high creative self-efficacy, they are more likely to engage in creative activities with greater effort and commitment. To investigate the relationship between creative self-concept and creativity, our research team adopted expectancy value theory as the theoretical model to examine the role of creative motivation in this relationship. Creative motivation refers to an individual's intrinsic response to the nature of a task, which drives them to achieve creative outcomes. According to expectancy value theory, creative motivation arises from the expectation of completing a task and the perceived importance of a task. Creative self-efficacy and personal identity are crucial factors in stimulating creative motivation, driving individuals to achieve creative outcomes through specialized knowledge and innovative thinking. Both intrinsic and extrinsic motivations jointly influence the strength of creative identity, while creative identity and self-efficacy significantly impact the level of engagement in creative behavior. Our team's previous research has demonstrated that creative intrinsic motivation mediates the relationship between creative self-concept and creativity. Additionally, we explored whether individuals are aware of their pursuit of higher levels of creativity while completing creative tasks. Specifically, we focused on whether individuals consciously strive for higher creative performance. In this context, mindfulness, a state of open, accepting awareness of the present experience, may have a significant impact on the creative process. Previous research suggests that mindfulness practices not only help individuals gain insight into the true nature, but also enhance the clarity of their self-concept. This implies that when individuals have a high level of mindfulness, their cognition and judgment of their own creativity may become clearer, thereby strengthening their creative motivation. Against this background, our research team conducted a study to examine the moderating effects of different facets of mindfulness on the relationships between creative self-concept, creative motivation, and creativity. In the aforementioned study, we demonstrated how creative self-concept influences creativity. However, we are also interested in understanding how to improve creativity in educational settings through interventions that target creative self-concept, mindfulness, and creative intrinsic motivation. To address this, we introduced a group coaching approach. This method uses non-directive and collaborative techniques to help individuals enhance their potential and strengths related to creative motivation and creativity. During the design of the intervention, we find that existing interventions on creative self-concept are based on Bandra's four sources of self-efficacy. In contrast, our study takes a more holistic approach. We combine creative self-concept with the narrative coaching psychology model, which uncovers the values and strengths of the coachee through storytelling. Our goal is to design a group coaching program that enhances creative self-concept and, in turn, creative intrinsic motivation and creativity. At the same time, we incorporated mindfulness training into the creative self-concept coaching intervention to explore whether enhancing mindfulness, as suggested by theory, would affect creative self-concept, creative intrinsic motivation, and related expressions of the creativity. In summary, this study has two main objectives. The first one is to examine the relationships between creative self-concept, mindfulness, creative intrinsic motivation, and creativity in practical educational settings. The second one is to design and test two group coaching programs, one focusing on creative self-concept, abbreviated as CSCC, and the other combining creative self-concept with mindfulness, abbreviated as CSCMC. We will evaluate their effects and compare the differences in enhancing creative self-concept, mindfulness levels, creativity intrinsic motivation, and creativity between the two intervention programs using a randomized controlled trial. Based on above research objectives, we propose the following two research hypotheses. Number one, participants in CSCC show significant improvements in creative self-concept, creative intrinsic motivation, and creativity performance after intervention than in BCG. Number two, participants in CSCMC demonstrate more significant improvements across the facets of mindfulness, creative self-concept, creative intrinsic motivation, and creativity performance after the intervention than in BCG. Our study design is a randomized control trial. On the first stage of the study, we focused on participant selection. We recruited 104 volunteers via social networking platforms with approval from our institution's IRB. At time 1, we assigned unique codes to the 104 eligible participants and randomly allocated them into three groups. The creative self-concept group with 33 participants, the CSCMC group with 37 participants, and the blind control group with 34 participants. We excluded 50 participants due to various reasons, including withdrawals, incorrect responses, low attendance, and incomplete data. The final effective sample included 25 participants in the CSCC group, 31 in the CSCMC group, and 33 in the BCG group. The flowchart illustrates the participant recruitment and exclusion process. And for data collection, we followed a structured timeline. We collected data at 3 key points: before the intervention, immediately after intervention, and 2 weeks following the intervention. The entire study took place from January 2024 to February 2024. For the design of the CSCC and CSCMC coaching programs, we drew on several key theoretical frameworks and interventions. For the CSCC, Bandra's 2007 work on self-efficacy guided our approach. According to Bandra, self-efficacy is influenced by 4 resources. These elements were integral in shaping how we design the coaching activities to enhance participants' self-efficacy in their creative pursuits. In addition, we implemented Carl's 2020 Hero's Journey narrative coaching model. This model, which emphasizes the life journey of the optimal creator and the creator's hero's journey, is designed to set creative activities and goals that promote autonomy and self-expression in creativity. This narrative approach helps participants understand their creative journey and motivates them to set and achieve creative goals. In the CSCMC group, we incorporated Niamic's 2007 approach to mindfulness, particularly his methods for meditation targeting character strengths. Mindfulness meditation, as outlined by Niemic, helps foster awareness, exploration, and action. We use this approach to integrate mindfulness with creative activities, aiming to enhance participants' self-awareness and creative expression by focusing on the 24 character strengths as targets for meditation practice. The control group did not receive any additional intervention. The two tables provide a detailed summary of the interventions. The key difference between the two interventions is as follows. In the first group coaching session, the CSCMC group included concepts of mindfulness and its relationship with creativity, which were not part of the CSCC group sessions. Additionally, during each creative activity, the facilitator introduced a meditation segment, emphasizing an open and mindful approach to the current activity. Mindfulness exercises were also incorporated into the homework assignments for the CSCMC group. The differences in the specific content between the CSCMC and CSCC groups are highlighted in red in the tables. We measured the variables using several scales, and each of these scales demonstrated high reliability in our measurements. Demographic data indicate that there are no significant differences in the covariates among the variables of interest within the sample. At T1, the pretest results also show no significant differences among the variables at this time point, indicating that group allocation is homogeneous. Next, we examined the changes in the research variables across the three groups. Regarding the variable of creative self-concept, participants in both CSCC and CSCMC showed significant improvement compared to the control group. For the variable of mindfulness, the CSCMC exhibited significant enhancement in the facets of observing and non-reactivity compared to the control group. In terms of intrinsic creative motivation, both intervention groups demonstrated significant improvement over the control group. Finally, for the creativity-related variables, IBS, both intervention groups showed a significant increase compared to the control group. Based on the results, the CSCC intervention program significantly improved creative self-concept, creative intrinsic motivation, and RIBS. These results partially support hypothesis 1. The CSCMC intervention program significantly improved creative self-concept and showed notable improvements in the observing and non-reactivity facets of mindfulness. However, it did not significantly enhance creative intrinsic motivation, but it shows significant improvements in RIBS. These results partially support hypothesis 2. Both intervention groups showed similar improvements in creative self-concept and RIBS. However, there are no changes in the novelty scores of RAT and AUT after the intervention. This may be because positive self-beliefs primarily alter an individual's attitude rather than their abilities, suggesting that enhancing creative thinking requires additional cognitive training. Regarding creative intrinsic motivation, the CSCC group demonstrated a significant increase both immediately after the intervention and at the follow-up. The CSCMC group showed a general upward trend. Future research should consider extending the follow-up period to further explore these effects. In general, this study supports the significant role of creative self-concept in promoting individual creativity and reveals the mediating role of creative intrinsic motivation in this process. The integration of mindfulness offers a new approach for fostering creativity. During the research process, we also identified several areas for improvement in the design of the control groups and the mindfulness intervention activities. Future research will include a mindfulness-only intervention group as an active control group to enhance the integration of specific mindfulness facets with the intervention activities. Also, it will extend the overall duration of the intervention to improve the effectiveness of the intervention. And finally, we have offered some research suggestions for practitioners in the field of coaching. The first one is to integrate mindfulness techniques. By incorporating mindfulness practices into coaching, practitioners can help individuals approach challenges and creativity with openness. Different facets of mindfulness, such as observing and non-reactivity, positively impact creative self-concept and behavior. Number two, create a supportive environment. Practitioners should create a non-judgmental, open environment that encourages individuals to explore creativity without pressure, helping to enhance their creative self-efficacy and identity. Number three, foster reflection and narrative. Practitioners can use narrative coaching methods to encourage individuals to reflect on past creative experiences. Activities like creative hero journeys can help build creative identity and increase recognition of creativity. These strategies align with coaching psychology principles and can help practitioners effectively nurture creativity in educational or workplace settings. This is all that has been shared. If you have any comments on above or are interested in our research, please feel free to contact us at the address below. And we look forward to all of you gaining new insights into the practical use of coaching psychology in this briefing. Thank you.